Alrighty, so good morning from the top. Um, Whatever this is to you, waking up early, diving into processing Roman philosophy, yourself, um, takes energy. Whatever this is, are you passionate about it? And so you don't have to write this down. This is more an invitation to speak. So who wants to speak? Hmm.
This means action, taking action upon the inner voice. And yeah, it's been a beautiful start to the year. So it's been cool to be doing what I set out to do.
Yeah, it's validating and self-assuring, the habit of doing what you say you will do is an act of truth, like extended across time. And at least in my experience, there's nothing more empowering than that because there is this understanding, even if it is understated, that life kind of gets in the way and obstacles and chaos emerge frequently enough. And sometimes those obstacles and that chaos is completely internal, just doubt, forgetfulness, laziness. But yeah, the capacity to do what we say we do or will do. Very powerful. So, back to the question though, are you passionate? I can make the presumption based off of that, but I think it's good to hear.
Yeah, sometimes too passionate, but
An interesting caveat. Too passionate. Cool, man. Anyone else? One more. One more early bird.
Hi. Crazy that. Oh yeah, you go ahead.
I know you go.
Christine first, and then Reese.
I'll go first quick. It's crazy. Okay, Evan, it's crazy that you're making us talk so early in the morning. Get up so early in the morning. Um, so I'll go quick. I talk about this all the time, which I think shows, my inner passion. I just can't stop talking about what we're doing to anyone and everyone. So yeah, I'm super passionate about this and only this.
Good to hear. I mean, how's that sound? I think there's a really powerful value in reflecting, right? Like one thing I've learned, over my time, like grad school therapy, this space of like holding space, is, you know, in humility and with the understanding of error on my part, but that we say things often, but do not hear what we say. And sometimes it takes a keen ear to really hear what we are saying, but do not hear ourselves. And so, like, an easy example is I hate my job, I hate my job, I hate my job, I hate my job. Maybe we've been there, friends been there. And then that, you know, the reflection of that, it's like, all right, Joe, sounds like you hate your job. And they're like, oh, yeah, I do. I've been saying it unconsciously, saying it. But to have it reflected sometimes results in an actual like hearing. And so I'm bringing up this question because maybe you say it all the time, but maybe you don't. But the act of saying it, and more importantly, the act of hearing it, is motivating. I am passionate about waking up early. I am passionate about speaking intentionally of my mind first thing in the morning. I am passionate about processing big notions before my breakfast. I am passionate. Oh, wow. I hear that. Anyways, Reese, how about you?
Of course, now I have 1,000 other thoughts after that, that one. But I am very passionate about it. I enjoy ritual. Um, and I also enjoy the community. I enjoy building community. So that's something that I take away from this. But yeah, I like ritual. I like development, self-development. I like expansive thoughts. So very passionate about this. Although yesterday I didn't feel very passionate about it, and that's how I realized how passionate I am. Is that I still continue.
Very cool. You know, the ups and downs, and I like that you brought up the community to be passionate about that. So, little, what is it? I don't know, reminder Kyle is hosting live sessions of this in his home in Santa Monica. After this, every morning, Kyle and his crew are doing movement, breath work, and ice baths in their beautiful space. And so I know that's a really early rise for a lot of you that aren't in the area. But, you know, I can't imagine you regretting it the day that you do go. So think about that. There it is, address in the chat. Also, just a reminder, I'm not sure how well you guys looked at the calendar on the website, but every Saturday is a self practice. And that's just there to build like autonomy, right? You are, as stated, passionate about this. So provoke your passion, utilize your passion, and do it on your own. Um, Meditate. You know, you're not going to have a quote on Aurelius, but you have concepts in your books to think about. You know, find your own way through your ritual. Groovy. So let's do this. Let's get into the quote from the Tao Te Ching, and then we'll meditate on it, talk about it. So the quote is, when the world knows beauty as beauty, when the world knows beauty as beauty, ugliness arises. And so the lightning strike of that significance resonates through the body. And then after the fact, the slow intelligence versus the fast subconscious. The slow moving intelligence tries to process what exactly was felt. It's almost like eating a piece of food. The taste buds act quickly, the essence of it, and then the chewing and the digestion and the extracting of nutrients kind of takes some time. And so, yet another metaphor to support us in wrapping our heads, if our heads need to still be wrapped around it, this concept of quality. So, second line, when it knows good as good, evil arises. When it knows good as good, evil arises. And so just take yourself there. This is China, pre-industrialization, beautiful mountains, rivers. And whoever's writing the Tao Te Ching, maybe it's Lao Tzu. Is it Lao Tzu? I'm looking at Julian. Is it Lao Tzu who wrote this? Maybe. Okay. Anyways, some wise Chinese person sitting by a river, wind gently blowing, just wow. When the world knows beauty is beauty, ugliness arises. And so the act, and I'm taking the time to articulate a situation visually to help your mind be there. You know? To help your mind be there, to help your heart feel it, the origin of this understanding. Cool. So let's all go to that place. We'll meditate, right? This idea of little pivots. We'll pivot 2 minutes in the quality of this wisdom. And so quality is tethered to an emptiness. Because when our minds are filled with concepts that create conflict, is this right or wrong, beautiful or ugly, good or evil? Well, I have to understand both to define them. That creates tension in our bodies. And so before we can embrace the ambiguous quality of things, we have to relax. And from relaxing comes the realm of emptiness. From relaxation comes the realm of emptiness. And in that emptiness, which is silent, you can throw in the tiny pin of this wisdom. 2 minutes here. When the world knows beauty is beauty, ugliness arises. When it knows good is good, evil arises. This can go on forever. When we know focus as focus, distraction arises. When we know right as right, wrong arises. Deepen the inhale minimally. Find great change and value in that. Lengthen the exhale minimally and find great change and value in that. With a breath in, open your eyes. Let's get into this. So when you look into yourself, when you think of yourself, what do you see? A couple things. When you look into yourself, what do you see? Shouldn't take too long, maybe a couple more seconds. Okay. I think this is probably more like a little list. So let's just go one by one. There's not too many of us. And yeah, express what we see when we look into ourselves. So let's start with Kyle.
So when I look into myself, I see a man yearning to rise to the call, a man who wants a path of righteous purpose.
Beautiful. Reese?
I see clarity, expansive landscape, thoughts and thoughts of others, love.
Awesome. Hani?
I see empathy for others, passion, love.
Cool. Sophia?
I see a soul learning, evolving, realizing, struggling, falling, rising.
All right. Amy?
Honestly, I just see a person in grief
Cool.
right now.
Thank you. Honesty is powerful. So thank you for sharing that. And everything has its value, but at the same time, you know, I send, imagine we all send compassion to you in this moment of grief, because we all know how heavy that is. Casey?
I see nothing at sometimes I see my destiny, and I put at sometimes I see the fear that stands in between.
Lovely. And as cosmic as usual. Christine?
I wrote something that's shorthand for me in Macbeth. Lady Macbeth says to Macbeth, she says, screw your courage to the sticking place. And I wrote sticking place, which is like the place where courage is before he has to go and kill the guys. And she's so mad that he does it wrong. And she says, screw your courage to the sticking place.
Wait, what's the sticking place then?
It's like the place, like they're resolved to do this plan, and then he messes it up, and he won't go back and put the bloody daggers back where he's just killed these guys. And she's just exasperated with them. And she says, screw your courage to the sticking place and go and do what you have to do.
Gotcha.
And she ends up doing it for him. And so it's the place where courage is, like, courage has to stay and stick there, you know? And so I said sticking place because it's like a courageous place to be empty. And it's, you know, it's, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I gotcha. Sweet. So yeah, I was curious whether it was like the sticking place was a place where you can go to find courage, or for some reason, maybe his courage led him astray, too much courage, and he's like, go stick your courage somewhere else because too courageous and whatnot. But yeah, okay. So a sticking place, a point within us where where our courage becomes reliable. I'm thinking of like a stupa. If you're ever in a place where stupas exist, so probably India and Nepal and Tibet, that's like the sticking place for faith. You just see those little stacks of rocks and prayer flags, and the faith, the mind is revealed. Cool, love it. How about you, Kasha?
I see me meeting myself for my first time and learning about who I am. So this is my first time actually getting to know myself, really. And I see the passion I have for something new and something that I never even thought that I could do. So I see purity and I see passion and I seek clarity.
Beautiful. Passion, purity, and maybe some clarity to come. Julian.
When I look within myself, I see desires and aversions, feelings of discomfort and the wish that they go away. And when I look deeper, I see a light waiting to burst out.
I love it. And so, for everyone here listening, breaking the fourth wall, anyone listening after the fact, when this is recorded on YouTube, it's like the time spent sharing for the listener is practice. We should be developing the capacity to be patient enough and interested enough to feel the quality of other people communicating sincerity. If we don't have that skill and we come to these spaces purely motivated to understand ourselves, which seems innocent and powerful and noble enough, and reject the time spent listening to others explain and express their space, I would say your work is stunted. Your concept of what you're doing here is deeply stunted. And so the listening, I would say, is even more important in terms of like a practical thing to develop. The listener, while again overlooked sometimes because they are listening, is a powerful thing to be. So, and it's an opportunity to feel quality, feel your community, your friends, these people share. Anywho, so all ears on Brandon.
I wrote that when I look into myself, I see dedication and effort, trying hard with a lot of fear that I'm doing it wrong, but faith that it will be okay anyway.
I love that you did something there that I won't reveal, but I loved it. Cool, George.
I have discipline, compassion, curiosity, and occasionally worries and fears.
Cool, like it. Margot.
Is that working? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I wrote, when I look into myself, I see kindness, I see love, I see a desire for simplicity and honesty.
I resonate. Steven.
myself, see the man that I want to become, and also the man that I am becoming. And I like that since I'm on the path. And immediately when I had those two thoughts, I wondered, oh wow, what about the man that I am now? What about, can I love that man? And I realized, when I looked into myself, I was outside the present moment. And so just kind of mulling over the question actually brought me back to the present moment. So thanks.
Oh, pleasure, man. So could you love the person you are now?
That part is in progress, actually.
Okay.
It's difficult.
Yeah, very deceptively difficult. Thanks for the share, man, and happy to hear of your presence. Nina.
Hi, I said loving person who needs a lot of self-discipline.
A lot of what?
Self-discipline.
Okay, self-discipline. Gotcha. And I put, when I look into myself, I see hope, strength, and exhaustion. And so the point is, when the world knows beauty is beauty, ugliness arises. When I know exhaustion as exhaustion, energy arises. When I know passion is passion, dispassion arises. When I know love is love, hatred arises. And so this sort of like threads into concepts of the unconscious shadow dimensions of the psyche. We fixate on what we fixate on. And just like that, we fixate on what's ahead of us. We don't see what's behind us. We look around, literally. We look at what's behind us. We don't see what's in front of us. And so this interesting wisdom of the Tao, somehow like a chameleon, the Taoist master learns to see what is in front and behind at the same time, right? Their field of vision, their field of perception, I guess, is developed on the Chinese river, in the Chinese mountains, hundreds of years ago. And so I just want you to think about that. Everything you wrote down, because you see it as that, its opposite is also a factor in your existence. And you, for whatever reason, are interested in the aspects of this binary that you are interested in. Some of you highlighted on like your duality. That's what I liked about what you shared, Brandon, even though I can't recall. You highlighted the duality. And so the point is, when we are in a space of quality, those labels break down, and somehow that sort of tug of war between concepts dissolves. The tug of war, right? It's like, oh, I want to love myself, Stephen, because I hate myself, let's just say. And we all hate ourselves to a degree. Or Amy, I am in grief. And it's hard. And I look forward to the ecstasy of it dissolving. But that tug of war, which creates no peace, to the Taoists exists because we are identifying, and it seems impossible to not, because we are identifying, again, grief is grief and joy is joy, love is love and hate is hate. Can we find a point in us where those labels break down? And that is a very delicate space, the emptiness. Again, we're tethering it to, in practical sense, deep, 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 deep relaxation. And so I bet, again, just to highlight Amy and Stephen, the more you learn to relax your body, physical, not mental, the more the boundaries, the tension in the body start to break down. And then, as if all on its own, the intellect quiets. Because we only think about the things we want or don't want. Does this all track a little bit conceptually? Cool. So we're just reiterating the same point. Lovely. So what's Marcus Aurelius have to say today? He has to say, whatever time you choose is the right time. Not late, not early. Whatever time you choose is the right time. Not late, not early. And so I'm enjoying how these two philosophical systems are threading together as the days move on. But we're spending as much time on the Taoist sort of emptiness, unspeakable flow as we are with Aurelius, which is a surprise to me. But things happen as they should. And so we can consider that, kind of picking up on what Kasha was saying, I've never looked into myself. And I should never have looked into myself until this moment. Now is the time for me to look into myself. And to think otherwise. Again, back to when a moment is the right moment, it creates an idea that a moment is a wrong moment. It is only the moment. So anywho, whatever time you choose is the right time. That's it. So the time is 10:20 over here, 7:20 over there. The right time to meditate on feeling that you are in the right time. The quality of that. But without labeling it as the right time. Oh, so tricky. So freaking tricky. And so it's going to be a bit longer today. I am unsure of everyone's endurance with meditation and stillness. 20 minutes can feel long. Or no, we have 10 minutes. 10 minutes does not feel long. But 10 minutes of unguided emptying. You have 3 territories. Move with me. Sensation. What does your body feel right now? Think in terms of rhythm and density. Rhythm and density. Slow the rhythm. Lessen the density. Slow the rhythm and dissolve. Slow the rhythm and dissolve. And then there is spontaneous thought, analysis, commentary, memory, fantasy, judgment, wisdom, spontaneous wisdom. And so there is an allowance of the spontaneous mind and a promoting of the relaxed and slowed body. In that, a nurturing of emptiness and presence. In that, a nurturing of emptiness and presence. Deepen the inhale slightly. Lengthen the exhale slightly. And hone in on the consequence of tranquility. The savoring of the smallest things. And from this tranquility, the mind softer. Remember peripheral thinking, blurry intellect. Whatever time you choose is the right time, not late, not early. threading the Tao Te Ching into Aurelius's statement, whatever time you choose is the time. Not late, not early. Not right, not wrong. All right, start to deepen the breath with exuberance. Take this feeling, this quality of the right time, and pin it to the sticking place. One breath in. Exuberant breath out. Right time, right time, right time, right time, right time. Inhale, open your eyes. Cool. So, yeah, like a little phrase, I'm paraphrasing something from Alan Watts. And again, tweaking Aurelius's statement to make sense in accordance with the Tao. Whatever time you choose is the right time. But if we know right is right, then we know what is wrong. And so the Taoist might interject with Aurelius right there. Whatever time is the time. No more intellect about that. Not late, not early. That vibes with the Tao. But the projection of right and wrong into a universe that is understandably beyond it generates karma, right? I think this is right, I think this is wrong, I think you're wrong, so I'm going to react against your wrongness, and you think I'm wrong, so you're going to react against my wrongness, and then I'm going to retaliate against your rightness, your pretentiousness. Anywho, karma is accrued, as Alan Watts explains, when we play God, when we project where we think we should be, who we think we should be, onto others, when we try to dictate the rhythm and schedule of things. And so you can see that the Eastern wisdom is really trying to break down our intellectual power. And that's useful to us because then it creates this clear space for us to absorb what can be debated as, real wisdom. And that's where Aurelius comes in. Someone who is, not an Eastern mystic, but just an intelligent person doing their best, trying to find goodness in logic. Cool. Anywho, so temper back on your God complex and trying to predict the schedule of the universe, and trust that what arises is arising, even if it is grief, or anger, or sorrow, or doubt, or fear. Alrighty, everyone. Blessings. So tomorrow you guys just do your thing on your own. I would encourage you, same time, 6:45 to 7:30, get that in your system. And all the love. Peace.